Hey, this is Philip at thebest3d.com, and just a quick tutorial on something about videos, and actually a very short clip here, just 30 frames, and we're going to basically work on reversing not the whole clip, but just a portion of it. So what I'm going to do is actually erase some of the frames here to some color. I'm going to select blue and erase that frame to the primary. There you go. And then so what I'm going to do, actually I'm just going to use the fill tool here, primary, and go to the next and fill it, go to the next and fill it. So I'm going to have a couple of blue frames here. There you go, about 10 of them. And then I'm going to go to the end of the sequence, and there's going to be a couple of, let's do a different color, red, and fill that. Right. So we have a couple of red colored frames. Just to identify some sequence near the beginning and some sequence near the end. And somewhere in between, and so this could actually be a much longer sequence, but somewhere in between we have some extra frames that are, oh, there's one that I left, there you go, forgot this one. Alright, so we have a couple of frames here. Oh, and it looks like the flag of France, bleu, blanc, rouge, blue, white, red. So we have a couple of frames here, and I'm going to number them. I'm going to put, let's say here, this is number 1, this is number 2, and perhaps one thing that we might want to do is open the light table here, or onion skins. So we got 3, we got 4, 5 frames, oops, 6, 7, it's been a long day. I can still count, 9 and 10. And so the idea is that this short sequence of frames, we would like to reverse that without reversing the rest. So we don't want the blue to turn to the right side and the red to go to the left. We want them to stay where they are, but there's a sequence here we would like to pick or select and have that reversed. So unfortunately we cannot just reverse this part. Right, because if we do this, if we reverse, there it is, reverse frames, then the blue and the red switch also. The entire sequence is reversed. This part is good, but the left and right are not. What we could do is we could take this sequence and bring it back to the left, but it would still be reversed. We don't see it here because it's all the same blue, but that got reversed. So that's not the solution. And what we'll do is we'll go back to the original. One thing I'll do is I'll store a copy of it here to disk. And now I'll get busy working on that. So first thing I'll do is I'll delete the end of the sequence and the start of the sequence. So I'm going to go with the select tool here, or maybe just the in, put the in marker. If you have version 9.6, you can select the in marker, go to the right, select the out marker. So you have your selection here. You can actually grab these two, right, and adjust it there, and set the parameters for your selection, and then right click on that and delete this block. Right, so now we have the blue part still there. Let's go put the in marker. Let's go here somewhere, put the out marker, and delete this one. Alright, so that's easy enough. Now we have a sequence of 10 frames. That's the one we want to reverse. We don't have to see it in onion skin mode here. Alright, so let's reverse that. Right click, reverse frames. There you go. And so that's a good one. Let's go and store that. There it is, to disk. So we have just this sequence of 10 frames in reverse order. And we have this one. I'm going to reload this one now just so we can quickly see it here. This one still has the original blue followed by the original non-reversed number sequence and the reds. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the frames that are in here, I'm going to insert them in here, and then I'm going to delete the ones I don't want. I could actually do this preemptively. I could delete a few here, but just so we see everything, I'm going to keep them in there for now. The way I'm going to do that, first I'm going to click this stored reload the stored copy here. So I'm going to say select all this. Right now you can right click and say select all, and so that entire sequence is selected. Right click again and select copy block. So we now have a copy of that. Right? Think of the clipboard. So we have a copy of that. We can now go and load the original animation again. in which the number sequence is still unreversed. And what we can do is the one we just recently copied, we can paste it in here in front of this. So you can select this one here, right click on that and say insert the block before current frame. So bingo, now we have that reverse sequence inserted here. And there's actually, the last one is replacing this frame, so you got to be careful about that. But these parts we can now delete, and we can go, in my version 10 here, I can use the select option here, and just select these guys, and right click and delete. And we're done. We now have still the blue on the left side, still the red on the right side, but the numbers, the frames in between here, have been reversed. Alright, so that's one way to do it. I bet there is a couple of other ways, especially with storing the image, right? For instance, if I wanted to turn this back into the original sequence or do any sort of different sequence, what I could do is take this number 10 and delete it, or cut it, right? Cut the frame, and then go here and select it, insert it right there before current frame. So now we have the 10 right there. The refresh needs to be happening here. It's not done necessarily, but you see that I was able to delete it out of there. Then I could take the number 1 here, cut that one out, and put it in front of the 9. Right click, insert before current frame. There you go. So now we got 1, 9. Let's go right click this one, cut the frame, put it in front of this one, number 10. Insert before current frame. There you go. So you see how you gradually can reverse them. If there's only 3 or 4 frames or half a dozen of frames, it's probably just as fast doing it that way. Right click, cut the frame, put it in front of this, insert before. Right click on 8, cut the frame, put it in front of 9. Right click there on number 3, cut this frame. That would be before the, or right after 2 or before 7. Take the 7, right click, cut the frame, put it in front of 8, and then we got only 1 or 2 left, right? We could take the 6 here, cut this frame, put it in front of 7, and just one more. I'm going to take the 4, cut it, and put it in front of 5. And there you go. So that was tedious, but it's possible, and sometimes that's really just a faster way to do it. What's nice about this is that it's particularly suitable or useful if you actually have some frames that you don't want to move around, right? Sometimes you don't have that entire sequence in need of reversal. Maybe there's one that you want to leave there, or there's another one you want to leave here, and then you have some others you want to move in a very different way. So that's the frame level editing that might be useful too in this context. Alright, thanks for watching. Hope this was useful, and who knows, maybe in the future we'll have just the ability to do something like this, right? I mean, this was the suggestion, to select a sequence and then say reverse frames, but right now it's not only reversing this, it's reversing the whole sequence, the whole frame sequence, right? Not just the current selection. So who knows, stay tuned, maybe we'll have something new to announce here on that soon. Thanks for watching.